Some of the accents I've put in that strengthen the piece, I've stabbed in between the lips, actually strengthens that with a stab cut in between, so the shadow's a bit deeper. I've added a little groove along the edge here and along the edge here, and that just kicks up the lips and makes them a little bit more, gives them a little bit more strength. I've also stabbed in the ends of the leaves. In other words, I've got a tool and just whacked it in so that I get a very clear end to the junction. And here, at the end of each eye, I've just chamfered the edge. So that gives the whole thing a little bit more strength. And I've also left, as you can see, the centre line. This is the last bit of the centre line that's left on the carving, and from that I'm going to measure off and make sure I've got the two eyes symmetrical. There are many different ways of carving eyes to make them look fairly real, and this is one I like. This is a copy of Michelangelo's David's eye. You can see you've got the iris defined, and then you've got the pupil itself with a little bit of wood left here, and that gives you that spot of light that's quite nice in a carving. So that's the sort of thing I'm going to do. And for the layout, I've checked the midline to each eye, but in fact my eyes are different. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to go by eye. And I, with a compass, found the centre, and from there, with the compass, went round and gave a sense of where that outline would be. So that's the outline of the eye, and that's the first bit I'm going to put in here. So we want to pick a carving tool, a gouge that fits the radius of that circle. The wider the better. If you don't have a wide one, then you're going to have to shunt it round. And what's important is that the tool itself cuts the circle, so you get a perfect circle, and you can match this on the other side. So, tilting slightly out on the line, we make a stab cut. Then as we come down here, just a very light scoring, because this part of the wood here is very short grain and in danger of knocking that off. So just score that in lightly, just even by hand pressure here, and then round to a stab cut over on this side. Come right up under the lid here like this. I'm going to have to turn this upside down in order to get at this better from this direction. So now I'm going to take this centre bit down into my stab cut, so around here. So what I'm going to try and do is create a shadow around that edge. Careful over this bit, because this is a short grain. Slice it in. We can replace this very gently. Tilting it back a little bit. So we want about a 1/16 of an inch, perhaps, a couple of millimetres down here. Get this nice and smooth. I know this tool also fits it, so I'll just tap that in here. So as you can see, that's very short grain, but by taking it easy, we've managed to get that out. So nice, strong line around the outside. And when we've got that finished, we can turn to the iris in the middle here. So I've got an idea of where my iris is going to be. It's not quite where the circle was from my compass, but that doesn't matter. I'm just going to go by eye what it feels like, and I pick a number 9 gouge, which is a semicircle, and we're going to line that up exactly where I think is in the middle. Stab that in, lift it. Now I'm going to come around and stab in the top, even though that's not cut. So come around. So now I have an accurate circle, and I'm going to take out here another little circle with another little number 9 gouge. I've got to be quite accurate with this because I've got to match it with the other eye. Okay, so I look around here. I'm going to pop this little shaving out there. And again, using the wedge effect of the bevel to knock that shaving out. Oh, the little chip of wood, there it is. And then I'm going to pick a gouge that matches this curve fairly well. I'm going to just put a stop cut in here and start taking this out here. Right up to the scored line that I put in first. Pushing that in. Now really what I need is I've got a very short bend or spoon gouge here, and I can just bring that in to pull that out here like this. So it's a matter of just deepening this, deepening it. And back to this one. So what we're trying to create here is a really deep shadow. In other words, the iris. And then this little bit of wood left at the top here, this is really the little glint of light that you get in an eye. If you look at somebody's eye, you'll see this little glint, and that's quite important, little point of light. See if we can get that. So I'll keep going backwards and forwards. Straight down, rather quite undercutting. So a little bit more here with this one. Now we can leave that little scored line in the top here. That can just remain. But we will remove the actual pencil. Make sure that's to a point. So we just leave the point sticking out and clean everything up, and that is our eye. Well, I think those eyes work really well, and with that the green man sort of wakes up. So I've finished the carving. I'm not going to sand it, I'm going to leave it straight from the chisel. But what I am going to do before I add any oil or anything like that is I'm going to take a piece of very fine sandpaper, something like 240 grit, and just wipe it over, especially the edges like this, because these edges here are very sharp. They come straight from the tool, and this stroking over just makes it a little bit more tactile. So I'll do that, a little bit of stroking over, and then on to the finish proper.